life can start to feel like it's just happening to you. And you catch yourself thinking, honestly, no matter what I do, it just doesn't work for me. You put in more effort than other people and it goes unnoticed. You do what's expected and the goalpost moves on you. You follow the rules and still feel like you're falling behind. And you're right back to where you started. A lot of people live there, not because they don't want to change, but because they're stuck in a victim mentality without even realizing it. It's that mindset that says, it is what it is. I don't really have a choice. That's just my luck. So in this conversation, Robert's going to talk about victim mentality, what it actually looks like in real life, why simply being aware of it doesn't pull you out of it, and what actually does pull you out of it. So it is an honor to introduce Robert Jean. He is the founder and CEO of Skills to Change Institute and the creator of Eutaptics and Faster EFT. He is a neuroplastician and behavioral engineer known as the Einstein of the mind. Robert has spent over 4 decades helping people rewrite memories, transform emotional patterns, and create lasting, measurable change. And before we get started, go ahead and hit subscribe. You can keep growing with us every single week. We're going to have raw conversations about life, the mind, behaviors, and skills to create lasting change. Hey, Robert.
Hey, that sounds like a pretty juicy topic or interesting topic. The victim, being the professional victim, lower model of the world thinking. The weird thing is, just everybody plays this game, and sometimes people play the opposite game. It's like, they've been controlled and manipulated, so they hate that so much, they rebel against it, and they become the controlling and the manipulator. Yet it's still driving the system. It's like it's the polarity opposites, but yet they're one and the same. Lower model of the world thinking.
Right. Well, you're going to have to explain what you just said because it sounds like you're talking to me.
Well, you what I see in front of me, but must be something you resonate with, right?
No, not at all. It's just that when you talk to me, you tend to trigger. Well, you do tend to trigger things.
All right. Just because I speak the truth, I guess, or I know what I'm talking about, and you're an emotional buffet, so I can talk about anything and you'll be triggered. but the nice thing is you're changing. Your persona has shifted, so it's because of your work. So good job on that, huh?
Yeah, thank you. All right. So what is victim mentality?
Well, I don't like the word victim mentality. You're not a victim. You're a volunteer, or you play a role. If you think about it, when we come into this world, every one of us, you're born into an environment. And the moment you're born, you are basically needy or need those around you to survive. That means if you were born and they walked away and they left you in the room, they came back 10 years later, you'd be dead. You need them. And so from this model of thinking, they feed us. They emotionally teach us who we are. They impact us. They guide us. They even help create our characters by how they treat us, by how others treat us, by our experiences that are internalized. And one of the earliest things that I created is the 2 models of the world. And basically the 2 models of the world is, one, I'm a victim to the world, or I am subjected to the world. That means my value comes from the world. That means if the weather's bad, you feel bad. If your husband or wife feels bad, you're going to feel bad. When you're always pointing at someone else, I'm messed up because of my parents. I'm messed up because of the traumas I experienced. I have problems because my body is messed up. I have problems because I'm a woman or I'm a man. or I'm an Aries, or I'm a Capricorn, or a Scorpio, or I have problems because I'm the oldest, or I'm the youngest. I'm Irish, I'm
Mhm.
Ukrainian, I'm American, I'm whatever, because we're looking for reasons to support why something's wrong with us. And of course, a lot of the teachings around us, they're always blaming us. If you have a loving mother like you did, she would never say, "You made me feel bad." So again, you have parents who's going to blame you for how they feel. So what we do is we have a model of the world giving to us, and you call it gaslighting, or you could call it a lot of different things, but this is how it works. We come in the world and we're subjective to the whole world, and everybody in our world as children, they're trying to control us and make us do what they think is best for you, or basically for them, right? So you come in this world and you're manipulated. You come in this world, you're controlled. You come in this world, they're spanked. I was lucky enough not to be born pretty. There's a curse called beauty. And if you're a beautiful woman or a beautiful man or something, you know, they're going to want something from you. They want to do something to you. They want to take something from you, or they're going to blame you for something. So these are models of the world that, again, when you're on the receiving end or you're perceiving in, you'll say, "What's wrong with me?" But then you also say, "This is my role in life. This is my identity. This is how the world plays, and I fit in." Now, again, some people will rebel against it, and they'll become the opposite of it. They'll be the abusers, whatever else they will do, the angry ones, but they're still controlled by the same operating system. So the Lord of my world says, "You, they, us, around my body, everything controls me, makes me feel bad." You're a victim to your own thinking. Now, you're not a victim to the world.
Right.
You volunteer. I mean, you will pick a man or a woman in your life, and you will allow certain things to happen. You know why? Well, you're familiar with it, or you are trained to keep your mouth shut and do what you're told. Or they resemble your dad or your mom or your brother or your sister, whoever it was that had the strongest impact on you. So, there are no victims, just volunteers.
That's an interesting perspective. I like that perspective. It is empowering because now we get to look at what we believe
Mm-hmm.
and how we internalize those
Mm-hmm.
our belief systems. And you talked about identity. How does that tie into our identity? Because it sounds like it's like directly, I guess, affecting our identity.
Yeah, well, identity, we, the receiver, I mean, the little you, whoever you are, we filter what happens. We may focus on one aspect of what happens. And then from that part that we choose to notice, we take that in as a part of us. I've talked about PTSD's post-traumatic stress disruption or distinction, whatever you want to call it. It's not a disorder, but you know, we all experience experiences. Each of those experiences are forms of education. So if you've witnessed or experienced an abusive experience or saw something horrible, physically, emotionally, or sexually messed with or harmed, that didn't screw you up. The event didn't screw you up, but what you took from it, you used it on you. And now when I say it's not, a lot of times it's not a conscious thing. Your brain has a natural survival system, so it notices things. It picks up things, it sees things, and then it takes it in your brain and puts it in your brain. Now, your brain has a filing system, has an organizational system, so it's going to organize this. Now, all of a sudden, you have panic when you walk down the road, or you hear a sound, you feel like something bad's going to happen to you, or you have your mind just won't shut up because it's trying to prepare yourself for when the next bad thing's going to happen. So, again, it's not what happened to you that messed you up, but it's actually what your brain took, organized, utilized, replicated, and use on you is it's not messing you up. It's trying to keep you safe. So you're not a victim of the world. But your mind will give you the feeling that you're being victimized, but it's your brain and the translation interpretations of the world is the victimizer, but it's not really victimizing. We think it is consciously because we're ignorant about the mind,
Hmm.
not realizing it's our inner stories or events that we create and then we start operating from it.
Right. Can you give me an example? Story?
Well, there's a lot. Let's see. I worked with this guy recently, 78 years old, right? And of course, when you work with older people, I mean, nothing personal, but we deal with older people.
Stop it.
A lot of times, they paint over, or you paint over. You put a lot of makeup on it. You hide it. You don't want to see it. So, and I asked him, so well, of course, going through, they've been married for like 50, going through a divorce, 55 years, and she's had enough, and she's done, right? And so now he's want to fix it. He wants to fix this stuff,
Okay.
and he went to a therapist, and he says, I realize I did some wrong things. He admits that he did wrong things,
Hmm.
and that's good. That's good. Most people don't. And he says, I'm trying to change my belief system. And I said, well, how are you trying to change your belief system? He says, well, I wrote a list of things I should believe. And I
Mm.
said, well, how's it working for you?
Right, exactly. It's on your paper.
I didn't say that, but I was thinking that, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I said, listen, if you want to change your belief system, you have to change the structure inside of you that builds beliefs.
Hmm.
And of course, of course, I did the first session with him, and this guy, I mean, he was crying like a schoolgirl. Nothing wrong with that. He owns up. I screwed up.
Right.
I was not perfect, and
Yeah.
nobody is, right?
Hmm.
And he did a lot of things that were very selfish, because
Okay.
so because that's what he was. And he hadn't changed much. He's still the little kid, and so here it is. He admits he did wrong. He wants the relationship. He's lonely, and all this stuff. And so here it is. I mean, if you look at from her perspective, he victimized her,
Okay.
and at the time he did it, he just thought it was the right thing to do.
Mm.
He's a spiritual leader of the house.
Oh no.
She
Oh no, no. Don't even go there.
Hey, well, listen, you better fit in, girl.
Don't even.
God's listening. You better pay attention. But anyway, this is his structure. I mean, don't
Okay.
make it all about you again. So anyway, he's a spiritual leader of the house, and of course, they're from a very, I say, good one, a very controlling system. And there's a lot of them out there is very controlling, and justifiably so, for God's sake, I guess, or whoever's sake it is. And so, I mean, he justifies this. And of course, now this is very traumatic for her. And of course, his wife had trauma before they ever met. So this is like a glove and a hand fit together, perfect match. And yet, it builds over time. And so here it is. He's repeating the cycle, and he has children, two, three girls and a boy.
Hmm.
And he's doing the same thing to them too.
Mm.
And so again, now he sees this. Now, by the way, he's sad because he's found out they're
Right.
walking away.
Yeah, the mask is off.
Well, I don't know about the mask, but the truth slapped him across the face.
Okay, sure.
The truth is slapped across the face. Now, again, you have to understand, Crystal, your world and how you act with your husband and your friends and your children and your mother and your father is fully justified,
Mm.
or else you wouldn't be doing it.
Right. Hmm.
No matter how ugly it is or how pretty it is, it's fully
Right.
justified.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how it works. But when it's normal to act badly, it's not bad.
Interesting.
You
Mm.
know?
Right.
It's not bad. It's just normal. But the problem is when things start to change, they're trying to they want their security back. They want their balance back. They want to have it back to where it was because again, To be controlling is to have control or try to have control. And your being controlled fits in with your religion. It fits in with your daddy and your mom and how they did it. So, it's like one person would leave one religious group that said it's evil and controlling, and they find another one just like it, but now it's not, but it still is. It's just
Yeah,
strange.
I went from one religious circle to another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with relationships.
Yeah.
I've seen this so many times where you could have a controlling mother or brother or sister or dad or mom or everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you get, at 16, you found the first guy that would take you, nothing personal, but I mean, take you, right? So then you thought, oh my God, I'm saved. But guess what happened? You took all the programming, all the training with you.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, where you came from, everybody was controlling. And this innocent guy that found you, saved you, he wasn't controlling. Guess who took the role? You did. Then you start acting like them because that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the damned if I do and damned if I don't, and I'm still screwed either way.
Right. So
And
for my dynamic wasn't necessarily like that though. Like the way you're saying it. So I'm just clarifying.
I wasn't talking about you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because you said that I was controlling so anyway, I just wanted to clarify
Well,
that.
I'm sure you do have it because you come from it.
I can see where there's aspects of it based in fear.
Well, hold on. I think all of it is based in fear.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Fear of loss, fear of no control, fear of not having what you wanted.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Fully justified.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So here it is. We got these systems. We don't want. We don't want it, but yet we still pick it. It's almost like I love you and I hate you at the same time. So there is a completeness of the insanity, but it's normal, completely normal.
Well, how do you get rid of that?
That's what I do. That's what I do. It's not that you get rid of it. Basically, you update it and clean it up and adjust it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real deal. You got to update.
Right.
Now, do remember this. No one's broken. No one's screwed up. They're just operating from emotional conditions and conditionings and, their trainings.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
That is a really great perspective because then we're not shaming anyone. No one's being blamed. No one's being shamed. This is all your inner programming.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. I've heard somebody say, I said, well, he just won't share his feelings or he won't do this or he won't do that. And I said, listen, you know why? He's scared. He's afraid of his own feelings. He was abused if he shares feelings. Do you think he's going to share his feelings? Hell no, it's not safe. Mm-hmm. He's been emotionally conditioned or she's been emotionally conditioned not to share. That's why I say a narcissist will never change. Listen, everybody's listening to me has narcissistic traits. There's some areas that you guys who's listening say, oh no, they're a real narcissist. Yeah, and you're listening, you're one too. But there's some areas that you will not even tread to get close to change your deep, dark hurt and pains because you're too scared. That's what a narcissist does. If you know anything about narcissism, they're wounded children.
right. So go into it a little bit deeper because for someone that's just joining us on this podcast and you're telling them that that's a narcissistic trait or that they are a narcissist, they might be totally offended because they don't
Right. Well, again, you have to understand now the narcissistic disorder, it's not a disorder. It's a normal coping mechanism everybody possesses and could use. Those who are really the top shelf, like really extreme, look inside their head, look inside their world. They have reasons to be that way. All right. So, and these guys, and I've worked with some. I had a relationship with one, or several of them. I'm one too. So I'm part of the system too. There are mean ones, there are abusive ones, there are controlling ones, there are hurtful ones, and there's healthy ones. Now, guys, look up healthy narcissists. Google it. You want to be that one, okay? Now, even psychologists said every child's born have narcissistic traits. Now, what does that mean? Now, remember, a psychologist and a psychotherapist, they give disorders as if they were trick-or-treat candy for Halloween. They don't know how to change the number one cause of disorders, which aren't disorders, they're coping mechanisms, and that's memory. Memory creates bad behaviors. Now, every one of you logically, you can think about that. You know it's true, right? So if you go to a system who doesn't know how to change memories, which is the cause of all problems, then you'll have a system saying you're broken. You got a dark mark on your soul. You got, the word trauma, is coming from a word meaning wound. So if you had a trauma, you got a wound. You'll always have this wound inside you, and that's horse shit. It's not a wound. Trauma is an education on how to survive in the world with that type of situation. So narcissism, if you break it down to the most simplest terms, is that my way's the right way, and you should do it my way. I have the standard, this is how it's going to be. Now, again, everyone who's listening, you're going to look at someone in your life, they're not doing it the way you think they should. Right? Now, you may not be forceful, you may not be manipulating, you may not gaslight, you may not triangulate, you may not do all that because you're trying to get what you want, and maybe sometimes you would. Some of them are just victims. It's a form of narcissism, always a victim, always blaming somebody. So, you want to be a healthy narcissist. All right. So anyway, we're talking about this guy, and of course, he admit I'm wrong, and he's trying to forcefully change his beliefs. I said, it's not going to work that way. You have to change it at the cause.
Yeah.
And he said, oh my God, I really got it, because last time he's just crying and we're flipping, changing memories. And of course, and he's going back to his past and all the stupid things he's done. I said, you keep going back to past and replaying all the stupid things you've done, and you replay it, you're rehearsing it, you're building it, you're grooming it, you're massaging it to make it worse and to make you feel even more like a victim. Again, who's doing it? He is. And so, he's coming from a Christian system. And I'm not a Christian. Let me just lay that out. I do believe in the teachings of Jesus. I do believe in doing what he says.
Absolutely.
There's a different system than what is currently done, but that's another topic. Yeah. But so here it is. He's trying to change it strong-heartedly. So he's trying to memorize his new belief system while on his day off, not practicing. He's massaging and replaying how stupid he was. And I said, listen, you're an actor for a play, and you're rehearsing your lines. And when you get on stage, when the pressure's on, when the situation triggers something, you're going to burst out the lines you've been rehearsing, which are the negative memories. I said, you'll never change it. You'll never change it with verbal saying, I want to be.
Right.
I said, if you really want to change it, which I've been working, and by the way, somebody comes to see me, when they usually come and see me, they're falling apart, they're really in a deep, I call it the deep doo-doos. They can't even see they can't see anything. They're just in a miserable mess. So usually the first session, I'm cleaning up so they can halfway pull their head out to see that there is a hope, and of course they do. I mean, I make big changes in a single session. But then the second time, I'm still cleaning up, and I'm also trying to educate. Come on, you got to see what you're doing. You're not screwed up, you're not broken. You're just repeating patterns. And he started seeing it. Wow. And I said, listen, if you want a better behavior, you got to stop replaying what you did wrong. You need to change what you did wrong. Now, I told him, I said, listen, that when I was in drug rehab, I'm working in drug rehab. And there was a guy, he's in drug rehab for 3 years, and he's ready to graduate, and I did a session on him. And every night when he laid in bed, right before he went to sleep, he recalled one of his happiest memories. It was his birthday, 15th birthday. His dear old loving dad bought him a prostitute and a bag of meth.
My gosh.
And Hotel California was playing in the background. Every night for 3 years, he's been playing this memory in a drug rehab, trying to get his life together. How long did it take him to go back to meth when he got out? Not very long. So if you, as a person, have been traumatized and had bad stuff happen to you, and you're always looking for it, beating yourself about it, looking at others with it, joining groups who talk about it, you're massaging it, you're grooming it, you're watering it, you're planting it everywhere. You won't get free. So, the lower model of the world thinking is that I'm a victim to the world, but really you're not. You're grooming and playing a role that you've learned to pick up. And I told him, I said, listen, George, I said, the memories that you beat yourself up over, let's go adjust them. And AKA change the meaning of it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of you may not know, every memory inside your head is a creation of your own. Now, I want you to think about it. What do you mean a creation of your own? It really happened. Yes, it happened outside you. So it happened out there. Now, when it happened out there, your brain takes it and puts it in here. It creates it. All right, so now it becomes yours. That is your creation based on what you witnessed and translated, interpreted, and given its own meaning, right? So if you change the memories you hold in your head, it doesn't change what happened outside you. Because you have to understand, and most people don't realize this, the past is over and doesn't exist. And, how many of you sit with your family and they're all talking about an event? Everybody has a different story of the same event because it's all translated differently. So, when you adjust a memory, you're not changing history. You're changing the system that kept you doing it to yourself over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that memory was the driver.
The memory was I call it an imprint. It's how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a system. Now, if you think about memories are not the real thing. It's Memorex. It's fake. And it seems real when you remember it because your brain triggers the body to make it seem real. Mm-hmm. Even though it happened 20 years ago, it feels like it's happened today. You can check it. That's what I'm saying is true.
Mm-hmm.
So when you update your memory and you change it to where it's not a bad one and you can't find the bad one, all you have is a new update, you're free. But you have to dissipate, release, change, and transform the emotional aspects, the visual aspects, the auditory aspects, the taste and smell to where it's different. Mm-hmm. I had to work with a 72-year-old woman, and I'm working, and she saw me one week, and she booked a session with me because she's wanting to work on some pain. And I'm working this stuff. She goes, "Are you a magician?" I go, "No, why?" It's in my head. It changed. It's gone. I said, "I'm not a magician. I just know how it works, and your brain did it for you."
Right. Can you explain the mind-body connection with that?
Mind-body connection?
Yeah, well, because you're talking about physical pain and how the brain interprets, or there's a memory, how the brain expresses.
Well, again, the brain is a very, if you understand this, the unconscious, the brain, has an innate system to keep you alive and safe. All right. So if you've had bad experiences or unpleasant experiences, you had accidents, you had some kind of a trauma, it's going to capture it, organize it. So when I work with, I talk about Paul a lot because he's like a major shift in my process of thinking. Paul comes in, he's in his 70s or 80s, I don't know how old he was. And he has, he had pain. He had 13 angiograms where they go into his crotch and it goes up to his neck and put some stents in there. Nerve damage, has to have, I think, morphine patches to deal with the pain and all this stuff. So he comes in. And so, pain has a system of survival for you. It's trying to protect you, but also keep you in alignment with where you came from. And I said, well, Paul, what happened? When did all this happen? I said, how long ago did this, you had this pain? Well, I had 13 angiograms and, cause I've having stuff, blood pressure issues, whatever that was. And he said, also I was going through a divorce. I said, oh, okay, now we're getting to some juicy stuff, right? So we go and we find the emotional intensity. He hated his wife. He hated the doctors. He's hated his life. And of course, he goes in these surgeries, and of course, if you understand, neurons that fire together wire together. So here he's angry, he's upset with his whole life, and they're doing this surgery. His mind, what we call, links it to the situation. So now the pain is a metaphoric expression of his hate with his wife and what he's going through emotionally and the world. And so I go in and I help him change these memories, making peace with his ex-wife, making peace with himself, making peace. So in his mind, the memories change. And when I got done changing the memories, I go to his pain. I said, how's your pain? He says, it's gone. Never talked about his pain. We just talked about the memories. So the memories drive pain. And if you don't believe me, all you have to notice is when your pain is high, what's going on in your life. Guess what it is? STRESS. It's called stress.
Yeah.
Couldn't make it out.
Thanks.
So it's just stress. It's a stress and emotional events. 75 to 90% all doctors say stress and emotional events. But the brain captures memories and it keeps using it on you. Again, you're not broken. It's trying to keep you safe, keep you in alignment with the family, the system, the conditions.
Wow. Well, you're going to have to update us on what happens with George.
Well, George, now, of course, George, I wasn't finished with George's story. So I go back and I said, listen, let's do these memories. Now, again, he's crying most of the 2 hours, hour and a half, and we're working on stuff. And, I'm explaining, educating him, because, so anyway, and I started working on the 3 major memories. So we, of course, because see, when you go to memory, and when you go to memory, you step in memory, you could feel it happening as if you're there. The faces, the expressions, his emotions. And so we go start releasing the emotions, changing the emotions, change how it's internalized, all of a sudden it's changing. I said, well, I see it differently now. I said, okay, now since you see it differently, you notice that you don't feel any stress, any reactions. No, in my mind, the picture images change. I said, now what you want to do is we want to embellish it. So I want you to go in, be in the memory now. You're back then 20 years ago, 50 years, how old it is. You're there now. What would you do differently? And then do it. So now we go back to his past. We release the emotions, put him back in the past, and he's doing something different. He's giving her a hug. He says, I love you and I miss you and I can't wait to crawl in bed with you.
That's a good way to update it. What would you do?
Yeah, and I said, now remember, you got to replay this over and over again. So write it down. Now I want you to replay this one over and over again. Make it real. Now, by the way, I said, listen, this is how you change your beliefs. You change what created the beliefs, which is memories.
There we go.
So it's the unpleasant memories and pleasant memories that creates beliefs. Every belief you have is generated and created by an experience. And there's 2 elements. Proofs, which are, memories, images, whatever. And sometimes they're known and a lot of times they're unknown. And then the kinesthetics that gives it reality. So he was really feeling really good. And then I did, in 30 minutes, we did 3 of his major emotional tear-dropping memories that he's been rehearsing and beating himself up over for the last 6 months. He goes, I really get it now. I really get it. And I said, see, you've been trying to pressure or trying to make up force a belief, and it won't work. It won't work.
Nope.
It has to be neurological. It has to be internal. It has to have feelings and emotions. I know, but see, look, he's going back and replaying the story of the crap he did, and he's beating himself up. And I said, listen, you're just a little crybaby. You're just a little crybaby. That's all you are. I said, you hadn't grown up. You're still that hurt little kid. When you're a child, it says, you're right.
Wow.
You're right. You said, because I got in trouble just so that people know I was alive.
Mm,
I did these things because I was so lonely.
right.
And
Yeah.
so, we're talking about a 70 something here. Now, by the way,
Yeah.
his daughter would probably classify him, and his wife would classify him as a narcissist.
Right.
I mean, you could see, but again,
Right.
people are ignorant when it comes to how the brain works, especially the guys
Right.
with PhDs.
Right. Yes, it seems that way.
Yeah.
And what's nice too is George doesn't have to go and proclaim or declare affirmations all day.
No, he just replays the positive memories and how he wants to be.
And it feels good.
And he can't find the negative memories. They've been updated and changed.
Amazing.
Neurologically, they've been shifted.
Yeah.
Now his identity can shift and change. I said, listen, you're a crybaby. I guarantee you, George, if whoever this is comes begging and say, "Oh, please take me back. I'm so sad without you." I said, it's not very attractive. You know, you know. I'd say I'm going for cigarettes and I don't even smoke. It's not attractive. I said, George, you got to put your feet out, put your feet underneath you, build your value from within you.
Yes. Oh,
And that's, and I said,
good.
George, you got to clean this up.
Yeah.
You're living as a child, even
Right.
though he's older. I mean, this guy is a super intelligent guy. He's not ignorant. He's got PhDs out the wazoo, very famous, very well known.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But emotionally,
Right.
like
It's
most
different.
people,
It is different.
it's a different world.
Yeah, it is. And that's what he was taught. I mean, if he knew this, he would be in a very different place.
Well, listen, it didn't, I mean, and what I teach is uniquely mine, but it's not unique. I mean, there's concepts that are really true. I put this system together, Eutaptics, right? It used to be
Yep.
Pastor T. But it's a logical, practical, mechanical way in how to change your life. You know how many times people have said this? I've tried, you name it, I've tried it. I tried ayahuasca, I tried this, I tried that, hypnosis, Gestalt therapy, beat furniture. I did, you name it, I did it all. Nothing ever really worked. And the biggest missing piece is changing memory. If you can't change and update your memories, you're forever stuck in a loop of misery.
Yep.
And some of you are listening to me and you said, no, screw that one. I'm not going there. Because it's too scary for you. And I understand it. Listen, I know. I've worked with a lot of people so afraid. When Joshua came in, he was in Afghanistan, fought the war there in Afghanistan, and he was just scared. He says, "I've never talked to anybody this stuff. It's just horrific. And Josh is waking up 6 times a night, every night, you know. And I said, listen, I understand, this is different. I said, why don't you just pick a bad one, a bad memory? Don't tell me about it. I just want you to go there in your mind, see it, notice it, and feel it for the last time. Notice as much as you can. I'll walk you through a simple exercise. And then when we get done, you'll feel better. And we're talking 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And he never said anything to me what it was. I said, all right, now no, go back and make it bother. He says, well, I can't. It doesn't seem like it's me anymore. I mean, I'm not there.
Mm.
I said, okay, so why don't you tell me about it? So he's telling him about it. He says, and I'm telling you, but I'm not there anymore.
Mm.
It's gone. I said, listen, Joshua, we did one memory and you didn't tell me anything about it. I help you change it. Give me the rest of the memories. Give me all the things you witnessed and all the things you heard and all of the cry. And by the way, I mean, this is a good kid. He's a good kid. But he saw bad things. Right. He did bad things. Mm-hmm. And he didn't know what to do with them.
Right.
Now, again, he found this easy way out is the numb out, which is drugs.
Okay.
Now, some of you guys are listening to me.
Yeah.
You may use work to avoid your emotions.
Right.
You may use cleaning, shopping, smoking, drinking, eating, alcohol, drugs. Mm-hmm. Or you paint pretty pictures and hide behind the picture. But we really know it's still there. You're smiling. Yeah. You know that one, don't you?
I know that you're talking about me.
Listen, you just volunteered.
Yes, I did. I guess I did.
And people,
I know I know my
Yeah,
coping strategies.
that's
So.
a coping strategy. And by the way, people will use religion. People will use
Oh,
books. People will use TV. They will
true.
use anything to escape reality.
That's right. Yeah. And I was going to ask you for the people that are listening, how do you know, like, how do you know you're operating in lower model the world, like the victim mentality, the coping strategies? How do you know it?
Well, I mean, you know it because you always got your tennis shoes on and you're running. You're avoiding. You don't go to certain places. You let people use you. You have low self-esteem. You feel depressed. You avoid uncomfortable feelings, uncomfortable topics. You let people use you, hurt you, harm you. These are symptoms, you know.
Yes. Ooh,
And of course, you know, you can't say no to the chocolate. You
right.
know,
Yeah.
because again, these are coping mechanisms. Now, we hadn't got to the upper model world yet, but
Right.
the lower model world is basically, you know, I'm a victim to my own. They point outwardly, some point inwardly. I'm a victim to my inner world. I
Right.
don't trust. You can't trust myself. I don't even like myself. I can't put. There's a lot of people don't like themselves, and that's a very, very good sign that there's something wrong inside. You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Something's wrong with me. That's a
Yeah,
big
I'm
one.
broken.
Yeah.
No one loves me. I feel all alone. I'm the worst one. I'm the guilty one. You know, I'm the black sheep. I'm the retarded one.
Okay,
I'm the
stop it.
loser. I'm sorry. I didn't. I wasn't reading your autobiography. I'm sorry.
It's like you're reading my list.
Are those on your list too?
That's on my list.
Well,
Oh,
at
goodness.
least, at least you have something to work on. At least you'll
Right.
have a boring life ahead of you.
Right. There's no boredom here.
So those are on your list too, huh?
All of those are on my list. I feel like I've been that beach ball underneath the water, like underneath the deep ocean, and now the ball is released and I'm coming out.
Well, yeah, that's a different story because you know
Okay.
you've been stifling this down, swallowing this down, suffering it,
Yes.
and now
Yes.
you're working on yourself and you're popping out,
Yes,
but
that's it.
you're pissed off now.
Yes, exactly. But I think so. This is my belief system. I think it's okay to be pissed off while you're in it. And here's the thing, not I'm not saying in a hurtful way at all, but it's very there's like this. How do I explain this? Like this empowerment, this fire underneath you. Like, what have I allowed to happen? Like, why have I lived this way for so long? And so for me to be like, I don't know, I don't mind the little bit of like empowerment, little bit of fire coming out.
Well, yeah, let me just make it clear.
Okay.
Coming out, cleaning up, being angry is not healthy.
Yes, I know, I totally agree. So if
Okay,
I
so
have the anger,
now,
totally,
see
totally
what
have.
happens is a lot of women and men too. They start working on themselves, and then they found out that their husband or their wife that they're married resembles a family that they try to get away from.
Right.
And then they're working on themselves, and now they got a shotgun aimed at their
Yes.
wife and husband, blaming them, but yet you picked them out of the bunch. You know, it's the pretty puppy that you wanted.
Right.
But and
Yeah.
again, they're not the cause. You know, and by the
Right.
way, we, us, train them to operate within our system.
Right.
Now,
That's
since
true.
when you come out and your shit's coming out, and
Yeah.
I always tell people, don't do stupid things. Don't get a divorce. Don't kill anybody. Don't shave your head and join an ashram. Don't do any of that stuff. Keep working on your head and your memories and change that. It'll all flatten out. It'll all smooth
Yeah.
out, and the good stuff will float to the top again.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can only do our part. And so,
Yeah. And another thing, too, you have to understand you can love your sons and your daughters even if they don't subscribe to the same belief. You can love them, you know, you can love them.
yes.
And you know, you can love them as they are because they're part of you. You don't, again, so it's very narcissistic. They should do what I do now.
Right. Exactly. I'm not
That's
forcing
not, that's,
anybody.
yeah. Well, again, just, and like in our tap-alongs, I do these weekly, every Tuesday, sessions where people volunteer to help change their memories, right? And
Hmm.
so Veronica was going back to see her family who was her hell and torment, right? Going back to visit family to see grandma. And of course, she got sessions on it. We cleaned up her biggest fears. And so she went back there and she said, I was at peace. They were doing the same things they normally do. But
Hmm.
to me, it was like they was on a stage acting their game. And I'm
Right.
not participating in it.
Yes.
I'm
Right.
not personalizing it. I'm not letting it bother me. I'm just loving them as they are, where they are, and what they're doing. So now she moved from the lower mile of the world, I'm
There
a
we go.
victim to my family, to where my family is just pure entertainment.
Right. That is so empowering. That's amazing. Right
Yes.
there. That's it. And
Yeah.
you don't have to reject people. You don't have to
You don't
blame
have to hate
people.
them. You don't have to take it personal.
Yep.
You just have to accept people as they are
Yep.
and just kind of just smile inside, and just say,
Yeah.
wow, I've come so far.
Right. It reminds me, there's these penguins on Madagascar, and they say, smile and wave, boys, smile and wave. So that's exactly what I do in my mind when people are doing certain things. I'm just like, smile and wave, boys.
Yeah, yeah. Because again, if you personalize it, you got a problem.
Yes,
Personalize it, you got a problem.
exactly. Then I have to go and find out what's going on inside. Yeah.
Now, reason why, guys, you do personalize it because you've cleaned up nothing. You've not cleaned up. It's like the lady spent a week or two with Joe Dispenza meditating, or I call it vegetating, trying to clear their mind. And then she goes home, and at the airport, they want to check her bag, and all of a sudden she's pissed off. And you just ruined a whole week with Joe. I said meditating and vegetation doesn't fix your internal world. You got to change the memories. You got to change the programmings. If you don't change the programs and mental processing, you're not going to get a change. Of course, Joe, he says, don't look at your past. Try to be happy. Be positive. Focus on positive. Well, it doesn't make it go away. It's still in the same head. So what I do is we go to the negative and we change it, turn it into positive. Then you have no negativity inside. You know?
Can we talk about that a little bit? Because Joe Dispenza, he does do so like here's your happy end result. So you're basically manifesting, let's say you're manifesting a healthy body. And
That's
so
what you
you
want.
would
Yeah.
you would envision yourself
Mm-hmm.
having this healthy body. And now that is the, I guess, visualization, the imprint that you're going to visualize.
Right.
So why doesn't that work?
Well, it's very simple. You could read a book or listen to Joe, or you can even listen to me. Well, I tell you the truth how to make it work, but and you have this ideal you want.
Hmm.
That's consciousness. Consciously, I want to lose weight. Right?
Right.
Consciously, I want a better relationship. Right? I mean, there's nothing wrong. Visualize it all you want. But there's a smarter part about you, and it's much bigger than your consciousness. And that is your history. So if inside your mind you get love out of eating carbohydrates, love soothes the fears in your life. Foods, you eat your stuff, and then you got to clean your plate or else you'll get whipped.
Right.
All these memories around food, emotional indoctrination, you'll never lose weight. Even though consciously I really want to lose weight. The
Yeah.
truth of it is, I look at what keeps you from having it and we change it. It's a whole lot easier. Look at the resistance to having it, get rid of the
There.
resistance, boom,
Yeah.
you got it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just
So
like just like I did with George. I said,
yeah.
George, you want this and you're trying to do it logically,
Yeah.
but the real story, the emotional juice, the real facts of the memories that you keep traumatizing yourself with, and your brain will use it naturally without you ever thinking about it. So I teach the true law of attraction. I guarantee you change what's inside your head, you're going to attract what it is inside your head. The movie called The Secret, it's quite some time ago. The secret to the secret is not in the movie called The Secret.
Right.
Because they're saying, be positive, positive, positive.
Positive thinking.
And then it shows that little plant trying to come up and your doubt shows up. Why is doubt showing up? Because you're not in alignment unconscious and consciously.
Right. Yeah.
And by the way, the unconscious is smarter than you are consciously. You remember, it knows how to drive a car. You put your makeup on, you eat your sandwich, you talk on the phone, you still get to work. Don't even remember the drive. That's your unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Your unconscious is going to pick the perfect person for you that you said you didn't want, and it's just like your dad or your stepdad. And you're still feeling the same nonsense. It was your heart that picked it, by the way. It's your unconscious.
Mm.
Even though you had butterflies and all the nice things, and you thought this was a new person, all of a sudden, wham, same guy you always known. Different name, different shoe size, different hair color.
Mm-hmm.
Because this part of you hadn't made peace with.
Right.
We call that the upper maw of the world. Upper maw of the world is basically saying, I take full ownership of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I translate, interpret, internalize what happened to me. Everything inside me is mine. Every memory, every person, every character. Every smell, every sound, everything is in me is mine.
Yes.
First step. It doesn't take you anywhere.
Yeah.
The second thing is you need to find some truth, seek truth, and how to change what's inside you.
Right.
That's the key. You got to be able to change what's inside you.
So how do people do that?
Well, they take my course. They go, you can
Exactly.
change yourself. They take level 1, 2, and 3. And next thing you know, they will be a total different animal. You're in it. You're changing.
Absolutely.
You cannot not change by taking the courses. It's impossible.
Yeah. And you need the system. That is one of the most important keys. You can even learn, because in level 1, you'll start learning how to change the memory. You'll start learning all the different aspects of it. But you need the system, and you provided the system, Robert, the upper model of the world. What does that look like? This is, like you said, when you were in the session with George, you were not just with the memories, cleaning out the memories, updating the memories. You were also teaching.
Yeah,
Because
it's how you think. So I teach how to see the world in a healthy way. It's a philosophy of life. It's mechanics. It's boot camp too. It's not only how to think and how to see the world, but how to change your inner world so that you'll have something better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a life-changing operating system.
Yes, it is.
And it's something you'll use the rest of your life.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Well, you can go back, but it won't be fun.
Yeah. I think most people, once they know the tools, they stick with it because they've been practicing
and it works.
Yeah, it works. George.
All right, now going back to George. So now here it is, George. I gave him a homework assignment. I said, George, I want you to go home and I want you to replay these memories that we rewrote and updated over and over again. And I said, now, George, I also want you to do a list, and we call it the cleanup list or the peace list. And this peace list is all the other things you did wrong you wish you hadn't have done. Mm-hmm. So we look at those and we change those. Those are your real values. Because those drive you without thinking. They create identity and value. So I said, George, go write those memories. Now, everyone logically think about this. If you got a backpack on your back and you've been hauling this backpack ever since you were born, and all the years of accumulation of unpleasant experiences are like rocks in the backpack. Mm-hmm. By the time you get older, this is weighing you down, slowing you down, making you sick, making you tired. Mm-hmm. But if you go to the backpack and start unloading the rocks of the past, the painful rocks, your step gets higher, your attitude feels better, you move and groove a whole lot different than you did before. There's a woman, Sherry, I talk about.
Yes. Yeah, love Sherry.
Yeah, at 76, mm-hmm. Her husband died, her mom died, her dog died, and she got scammed.
Oof.
And she would go to school and she would smile and be happy. When she came home, she would just cry.
Oh.
all night, all day until she had to put on her mask and go back to school,
Oh,
you know? And then she booked a session with me. We went and we addressed those memories of pain. And she had been crying since. She's,
wow.
you know her, she's a different person.
Yes. Yeah.
She's a very, very smart person.
Yes.
But at 76,
She's sharp for 76.
and she's intelligent. And you know what?
Yes.
She uses it on herself everywhere she goes. She
Yeah.
said, we're walking somewhere, and she goes, "Well, I don't want to fall." I said, "Sherry, tap on the fear of falling, and when you're walking, say, 'I'm sure-footed as a goat.'"
She told me about that.
Just say, "I'm sure-footed as a goat." You know, I'm sure-footed because you're affirming something. I'm sure-footed.
Yeah.
I'm stable.
Hmm.
Because you know what people do when they're walking and they fear falling? They see themselves falling,
Right. Yeah.
and that means they will end up falling.
Yeah.
So I said, and goat was greatest of all time.
Right. Yeah.
So again, but again, this is a game changer, total game changer.
Yeah.
Having the ability to process the world in a healthier, positive way. That's upper mall of the world.
Yeah.
Not
Totally.
taking things so personal. If
Yeah.
Crystal has a problem with me, it's about Crystal. She's
Yeah.
got a problem. She's trying to dump her stuff on me,
Hmm.
her projections, her issues.
Hmm. Yeah.
You
And
know,
vice versa.
yeah. Well, I don't see anything wrong with you. You're amazing.
All right. So, um,
But yeah, so those of you who are interested, I know you probably tried a lot of stuff, and I assure you one thing: this works.
yeah.
It's changed. My kids have it. I have it.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. If you want something better, you can change yourself. You can. You must be able to. All the great teachers know thyself. Know what you do within yourself. Know how to change yourself. You know, and that's what it's all about. It's changed my life. It's still changed my life. You're using it. I'm using it. It's like a toothbrush on the counter. It works when you use it.
Hmm.
And it's just
Really
a smart
does.
thing to process the world.
Yeah.
And of course, the upper mile of the world says, I choose to be in control of my life. I'm responsible how I feel. I'm responsible how I act towards you. I'm responsible for what I do. And I translate things my own way and ask yourself, is it right what I'm doing? Now, your brain is pretty smart. It's pretty sneaky too. And it's a survival system, and I talked about this earlier in many podcasts because it's so prevalent. There's just, oh my God, this is so weird. So I'm flying from Oklahoma, going to Hawaii, and I feel like I'm having a heart attack. My tight chest, and go, what's going on? I'm in the airport, and I go, is it something I smell? So in my mind, I go, you're okay, everything's good, breathe, you're all right. And I get to the plane, and I arrive at the place, and I go, there's something going on. Now, at the time, tightness in my chest and panicky. I work with a lot of people. They told me exactly the same thing, and they go to the doctor and said, you're having a panic attack. I didn't know I was having a panic attack. So then I go, well, I have a process called the art of change. It basically goes deep and figure out what created this. And come to find out what had happened at the airport, which it wasn't a trauma, really, consciously, right?
Hmm.
But I was dropped off at one gate, and I had to run to the other gate before I missed my flight, right?
Hmm.
So, I say this, I'm a fat man running with a bunch of luggage all the way across the airport. Now, when I get to the other spot, I'm sweating, I'm panting like I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And so my brain wired that to the airport. Now, I didn't know it. I had no idea it was there.
Right. Hmm.
So now, when I'm going from Oklahoma, going to the airport, my brain triggering that reaction. I didn't consciously, there was no real trauma, except I made myself run, and my body, I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack and die because I was running. And I'm an athlete. I ran track, played football, wrestled. I wasn't I wasn't in shape. I could run to the refrigerator and run to the bathroom. I'm really good at that. But the point is, sometimes your brains will wire things together that it doesn't make sense to you consciously.
Right.
And then you think, what's wrong with me? And what happened is you just got off the phone call, you got your feelings hurt. Now all of a sudden you feel like you're nauseous and you're sick,
Right.
you know? It's the emotions.
Yeah. So those are really good indicators for people to identify when they're living in lower model of the world. Their body will express what's happening.
Well, yeah, the body expresses it, but you have to understand it's the brain speaking through the body. The
Yeah.
body's the bodies is an innocent. It's
Yep.
not. It doesn't have memory. It expresses memory.
Yep.
Now, consciously, we notice the body, but the body is getting full instruction from the unconscious. Right. So you got to really understand that,
Yep.
because a lot of people says
Exactly. Yeah.
the body keeps the score. It doesn't keep the score. It expresses the score. The scorekeeper is
Yeah.
your memories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always remember the body's innocent.
Yeah. It's innocent, just doing its job, trying to catch your
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're struggling or if you're feeling stuck, replaying the same patterns, maybe you're caught in the why me cycle, you can work directly with Robert in a one-on-one session, and he will help you clear those emotional patterns, or I should say, update those emotional patterns that are running in your unconscious. And so you can transform your life and you can make new decisions.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And guys, subscribe to my stuff, watch my videos, join my network on Mighty. Learn how to tap on yourself, learn how to change your memories, learn how to know yourself, learn how to make peace with your world. You know, I had a video as how to keep people from pushing your buttons. It's easy. Get rid of the buttons. They can't be pushed anymore.
There you go.
Learn
Yeah.
to be the master of your own life.
Any
And
other?
it starts with education.
Yes, it does. Yep. Any other closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just like I say, you know, it's super important. You only have one life to live, guys. Live in a great way. You know, people who live long, there's a couple of things that's really important. One, they're active, physically active. Their mind is changing, they're growing, they're learning things, they're doing things. They got a passion somehow in their life. They have some kind of a passion, you know? And so it's super important
Yes.
to grow, get off the couch, stop crying over your history, stop creating lonely feelings when there's so many people around you. Time to make friends with yourself and invite people in. Your picker isn't broken. You've just been picking what you're familiar with. Change what you're familiar with and you get something better because you're changing you. And that's truly what you need to do. So learn to like yourself. Learn to love yourself from within yourself. The world gets better. And if you don't like yourself, that's the cause.
There you go. Yeah. So thank you for joining us on another episode of the Robert Jean Experience. Check out the links in the show notes to explore the different sessions that are available with Robert, tools, resources that will help you navigate life. And you can also subscribe to this podcast to stay connected and get the front seat to Robert's insights, wisdoms, the stories that he tells. Robert is really entertaining. So I will see you on the next episode.
Yeah. All right. Good job. Thank you, guys. And peace.
Peace.
All right. That was good, huh?
Yeah, it was very good.
I had no idea where we're going to go on that whole show.
I know. We did good. I liked it. It was empowering. Again, very empowering.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned what coming to level 1 and then really like sticking around is how empowering it is. Really. Because I lived so long with there's something wrong with me. Like I'm broken, there's something wrong with me. Anything that would happen, it's my fault. Anything that would happen, it would be like it would go inward.
Yeah. Well, you're to blame. I mean, you're the daughter of Eve, you know, she caused it all.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You had black hair too, so figure.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that doesn't trigger me anymore.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's so weird. I'm in the Sistine Temple and looking up. Eve has the serpent is a girl. long hair with boobs. And that's not just the only place. I also saw it in some of the other temples with Adam and Eve, and the serpent again as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's really bizarre.
Yeah, yeah. And that's imagery and programming.
Hmm